Hello, my name is Jamie, and today we're going to be talking about making randomized textured bases for the pseudo-random crystals. So we've got, in the previous session, we covered taking this obelisk code, creating a method in cadquery underneath the crystal module called crystal random. This guy takes a min, a max, and a step for each of the various attributes, and that allows us to create a randomized crystal-like structure using a pseudo-random using a seed string for that. So we've got code for doing that. We've got code for creating randomized groupings of crystals effectively, right? So just random crystal patterns. And it looks something like this. And then the next bits of code that we're going to combine for this video is let me find it. I have mini base code. So I've got code for making mini bases, and we're going to combine it with code for making randomized terrain. So if we go to damage, here, this uneven plane, we're going to be taking this code and the code for the randomized bases, and then combine them in order to have something to set the rest of the crystal code on top of. Randomized crystal, session 2, textured base. So session 2, crystal dev. So we move the crystal code into cadquery terrain. All right, next we're going to try to make a textured base. We're going to use the existing base code, the mini base code. These guys underneath cadquery terrain. In particular, I'm going to start with the slot code. So here I am opening up cadquery editor. So I'm going to go into a virtual environment, launch cadquery edit, start a new scribble. This is basically the directory where I dump all my test code, all the kind of works in progress stuff, proof of concepts. Gonna yoink my example, and then hopefully, assuming we have cadquery tray installed, should be able to generate off a mini base. Cool. Yeah, next we need to integrate an uneven plane. So let's grab an uneven plane example, do some code formatting. Note here the parameters are kind of inverse for where I'd like them to be, so what I'm using for width is really length. It's just some gobbledygook. So we're going to rotate this guy, and then we'll get the parameters sorted. All right, so for creating the cut operation for the uneven terrain, we're basically going to grab the top face of the mini base, which is the Z face, and then I'm going to basically do an extrude operation on top of that to extend that face up. So grab the top face, Move the wire to pending, attempt an extrude. Here I'm fidgeting with the code to figure out how to do that. So it doesn't matter what type of base it is, whether it's a hexagon or a square, there we go, or a circle. Um, we're just going to grab the topmost face, extrude it out, and that'll create our initial shape for performing the cut operation. And here I'm trying to see if I can get a work plane to copy out, but I ended up abandoning that for a bit. There's a way to do it. I'm just missing the exact procedure for how to correctly dupe the work plane. So code formatting. Yeah, so there's our wires to pending. We'll then run our extrude. And so we have the extruded work plane and then the original mini base. Okay, next example is going to be the uneven plane. And so I have two different ones. I have an uneven plane and then I have uneven spline. The spline code's kind of buggy at the moment, so I'm just going to go with the uneven plane. Get the import sorted, and then grab the example code. Translate the plane so we can see it, and then set the parameters up to roughly what I want them to be. So the plane should roughly have the same parameters as the mini base. Same dimensions. So now I'm trying to flip the plane, rotate it around, and then basically I'm going to place it on top of the mini base and just run it as a cut operation. But while doing this, I'm going to mess myself up a bit trying to do the cut operation and still showing the original base. So I'm going to be doing this cut operation. It's going to mess with me for a little bit until I get uh, out of my daze, out of my haze. So we're setting up a new scene. We're going to have the mini base added to the scene, and then we're going to do a cut operation for the plane. And of course, because I'm still showing the original mini base, my cut operation isn't going to appear to work. So now you get to watch me in a panic as I try to figure out, well, why didn't that cut operation work? So the nice thing with these voiceovers after the fact is I get to relive my blunders. So I'm just gonna cut ahead to where I figured out that I was showing the original base with my cut base and it wasn't gonna work. There we go. So basically position the plane on top of the extruded base and then cut the plane away. And that should give me the usable solid. So we have our example of the mini base, the extruded mini base, and then we have our example of the plane. And the next go around is to make a method to integrate both objects. So right now I'm kind of fiddling about figuring out how I want to best combine the elements and seeing which style I like best. And so this kind of object will become the foundation of the randomized crystal wall that I'm going to end up making. But that'll be in the next session. Here I'm fiddling about where I want the various intersects to hit and kind of what looks the most appealing to me. And I'm adding a note for when I do the implementation, how much I have to shift the plane up. And trying it with various seeds. Alright, so now we're going to make that method that I alluded to. Set up the initial parameters. code formatting. All right, so we'll grab our mini base code. Start adding in our parameters. So it's effectively, this method signature is effectively a mini base plus more, right? So it has all the variable types that a mini base would have, and then it has some extra for the uneven plane. Then we're going to grab our scene code and combine our mini base and our uneven plane. Turn back our scene. This time remember to turn off our show object. We'll instantiate our uneven mini base. Something. Some commas. Broke something else. Code formatting. Got to change that translate that I had a hard-coded note for. Change our seed for testing and see if we can get various results. And now I'm going to split the code out a bit to separate the mini base from the textured base and basically do some refactoring. Or maybe I won't. Grand ideas. Because in theory, you should be able to take a helper function that takes any kind of mini base, regardless of what type it is, and then dumps a texture on top of it. But for the sake of this video and this demonstration, I don't think I'm going to go through that process. All right, good enough for now. Thank you for watching. In the next video, I'm going to cover the final video. We're going to add the crystals to the base. Thank you to my patron supporters. If you want to support this project and other products like this, I have a Patreon. Have fun. All right. Thank you. Have a good one.